Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked? Here we go. Your dial is set correctly to USAPrepares.com. And we're delighted you're here. We broadcast Monday through Friday, 9 through 11 a.m. Central Time. And if you'd like to call us, we have a call-in line. And that number is 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. There's a link to your instructors on the website, usaprepares.com, usaprepares.com. Justin is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota at Genesis Communications Network. I'm Vincent Finelli. Captain John Regan's with us. Welcome, Captain John Regan.
Good morning, Vincent.
Hey, John, you know, you've said in the past how delightful it is to be broadcasting on Genesis Communications Network.
It
is. And I am just delighted to be broadcasting on Genesis Communications Network. You know, when you think about it, we're not censored. Nobody's telling us what to say, what not to say. It's kind of pleasant, isn't it?
Some people might say that it's not very pleasant.
Well, what I meant was the fact. You're right, especially Mondays. But what I'm saying is it's pleasant to not be told what to do because, frankly, none of us here at USA Prepares takes direction very well. And I can tell you that the owner of Genesis Communications Network has never, ever even hinted at telling me what to do or what to say or what not to say or what our instructors say. Maybe they shouldn't say what they say. It's never even come up in a discussion. And the reason I'm mentioning that is if you contrast that with the mainstream media, they're told what they can and can't say. And to keep their jobs, they're willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that. And frankly, I think it would damage our broadcast if we had boundaries as to what we can and can't say. Now, there are some boundaries that we impose among ourselves. And that includes, we don't talk about things that are salacious. We don't talk about sex and we don't talk about race unless there's a specific reason to do that. We don't talk about politicians based on race and we don't talk about people doing things based on race unless it's absolutely the center point of what has happened. We talk about what we think is right and what we think is wrong and what to do about it. And I'm just delighted to be able to do it. I really am. And years ago, I asked Mrs. Finelli, I said, how do you feel about what we do? And she said, very, very quickly, without hesitation, someone's got to say it. And how does your wife feel about things you say, John?
I think sometimes she'd like to rather not know about it, but
right.
She supports me, and in fact, she views my work as a ministry, which it really is, to reach out and try to save people's lives.
That's how I feel about it. I feel that this is our non-denominational church of physical preparedness. This broadcast. Well, I have perused thefinancialstateoftheunion.com, and I've clicked on the news tab, and today's class is, wow, what a slate of topics for today's class. So why don't you start where you think we should?
Well, before we get going, last week I was on with Doug and Joe Hagman, and I ran out of time.
Wait a minute, hold it. So it's not always my fault.
It's like I said, even when I come on and do the 2-hour monologues, I still run out of time.
Yeah.
It's not my fault either. It's just not enough time. And I didn't get to very much of the subjects I wanted to talk to, and some buttons got pushed, or as we call it around here, Monday.
Yeah. And class, when John, Regan, and I chat for the first time, before the broadcast, it might be a few minutes before the broadcast. Today it was about maybe 5 minutes before the broadcast, and it's Monday already. Yeah. Yep.
And Doug had read my book in one sitting, then went back and took notes, and I think they were prepared to do a show on the financial state of the union. That's how it was billed. And they didn't really talk to me very much. In fact, it was a pretty short conversation along the lines of what we have. And then we get on the air, and it it didn't take too long before we were following Wesley Rawles all over the place. And it was it really took Doug especially by surprise, some of the directions they ended up going. So if you didn't listen to the show because you thought it was going to be the financial state of the union and you've heard that part before, this is more John Regan Unplugged with topics that we haven't even discussed on USA Prepares. So I've got a link to the replay of all 3 hours in today's resources. And somebody that was listening put a blog post up, and I've got a link to that too. I've entitled that "Buy Salt," and the blog title, "Should I buy gold, silver, or salt?" And it's this is one of the things we have talked about here, and I brought that up that if you don't have at least a ton of salt, you're not really a prepper. And that was one of those items that they'd never thought about before.
Yeah,
and
I read the blog. It was great. And by the way, John, we bought our second ton of salt here at the farm. Literally, I called up Orscheln. It was on sale for $4.99 for 50 pounds, and I bought a pallet of it. 2,000 pounds. And that's the second time I've done it in about, around a year. So once a year I've been buying a ton of salt.
Yeah, and let me just go over the calculation for everybody in case you haven't heard it before. What I base that off of is say you have a small herd of cows, just 10 cows, not really very many at all. Each head needs 20 pounds of salt a year. So that's 200 pounds of salt in a year, or 2,000 pounds of salt, a ton of salt in 10 years. And if the grid goes down, it's probably going to take at least 10 years before somebody can manage to do a salt mine the old-fashioned way. And that doesn't include salt for everything else. So I've got probably enough salt for maybe 5 or 10 years for Becky and myself. But that's just for our health. I really need more salt to do things like preserve meat. There's several uses for salt, and I think a ton is actually on the light side of things. Pardon the pun there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, your number is right. 20 pounds a year, because 100 cows will consume 2,000 pounds of salt in 1 year. Your number is right. I'm just verifying that through experience.
And while we're on this preparedness topic, keep in mind that when you have animals, you have to remember you have to raise their food as well. Because when the supply chain goes down, you can't just run to the store and get a 50-pound bag of chicken feed. You got to be able to raise everything.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And when we buy dog food in those 50-pound bags, they used to be 40 pounds. They used to be 34 pounds. We found them in 50-pound bags. We buy at least 300 pounds at a time, at least. Now, we have enough dogs to consume that, but we do have that as a plan. But that doesn't last forever. Then what do we do? And what we have done is when we butcher a cow, we've saved some of the meat and some of the trimmings for the animals, the cats and the dogs. By the way, John, I wanted to share this with you. This is something that I've just noticed. We've had cows in our lives for a long time, over a couple decades. I'm a first-generation farmer, so I'm learning the hard way, pretty much everything I do. And I don't get much advice from other farmers because farmers don't teach each other. They like to laugh at each other. They like to laugh at the mistakes that other farmers make rather than help each other. I don't know what's wrong with us as farmers, but that's what farmers seem to do. I don't do that, but others do. I've noticed watching the cows, I'm with them every day. So I'll either get out on a four-wheeler or walk over to the fields where they are, depending on how far they are away. I'll walk among the cows and I'll talk to them and I'll give them a hug. And sometimes they come over and they want a hug, literally. I'm not exaggerating. And I've noticed that the cows are becoming a little more aggressive toward each other. The young cows are kind of pushing each other around, trying to figure out who's the boss. And I've noticed that the dogs are being a little more aggressive toward each other as well. And it's not like we've done anything. It's not like we have changed their food. And the only thing I can think of is it's coming from the environment. Maybe it's coming from the sky, the chemicals in the sky. Maybe it's coming from the weather changes. Something is causing this, and it's not us. We'll be right back. Class? I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
My name is Don Wiskin, and at 42 years old, I suffered a massive heart attack and was told I'd be on disability for the rest of my life. What did I do? I created Extendivite, a garlic and cayenne mix of 7 herbs which rebuilt my heart and gave me back my life. For over 17 years now, I have made this formula available to you so you don't have to suffer the same thing I did. Clean your blocked arteries and strengthen your heart and boost your natural immune system. I'm 60 years old now, and I still work every day. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid.
Extend your life with Extend. Gunfight. By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
75 years ago, America suffered one of the worst moments in American history, the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now you can remember December 7th, 1941, with the purchase of the first ever 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender solid gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call 1-800-490-3200 right now for the official 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve, the only company authorized to distribute these 100% solid gold coins. Remember Pearl Harbor with this limited official gold release. 1-800-490-3200 or online at usmoneyreserve.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Captain John Regan's with us. John, I have a short comment to make. We've had meetups for about, 5 years. I started them a little over 5 years ago. We met once a week, and we started on Friday nights, and all of a sudden, we grew and grew and grew, and the restaurant had a problem with us, so we tried to find another restaurant, and that worked for one day. We went to a big supermarket. It would hold 130 people, and we filled up the place. And that they didn't like us. They didn't like that we were talking about cell phones and how to save money on cell phones. And we got thrown out of there. So we found that we could go to a restaurant on a Monday when they weren't very busy, and that didn't work because we came out against the right to farm amendment in the state of Missouri, and I think they had a problem with that because the restaurant was being inspected by the health department, and the health department would be those involved in inspecting the farms with the right to farm amendment. And I spoke out as a farmer against the right to farm. And the next thing we know, they put us in the back room of the restaurant, and I moved us to Jimmy's Egg, which worked really well. And all the time that every once in a while during these years, I would say to the meetup group, Vinny is not going to be here forever. At some point, something's going to happen. I don't know what. I'm not planning for it. I'm not looking forward to it. But, I'm not going to be here forever. And things can change. And my plan is to teach with the assistance of all of our instructors and the expert opinions and advice and counsel of our instructors how to think. That's our number one job, to teach our class how to think, because at some point we may not be here. And if we're not here and we've successfully taught our class how to think for themselves, that's the best thing that we could possibly do. Rather than say, do this, do this, do this, we want to teach our class how to think, which is what I told my father that I did after 4 years at the university for my first tour of education at the higher education level. And things change. I've been fired 7 times in 12 months. And in that line of thinking, I've been saying to our meetup group, we just may not be around someday. Something may happen. Barry may pull the plug on broadcasting. Who knows? I mean, I've seen the switch. I have seen the switch in the radio stations where the government takes over, and now it's automated. Well, so what do we do? With the assistance of Miles in Europe, Joey in Michigan, Ed at UserSite, a pop-up has been engineered at usaprepares.com. So if you click on the website, you'll see a pop-up, and it will ask you for your email. It'll ask you for your first name and your email address. It will not be sold. It will not be distributed. That is so we can contact you should something happen to our broadcast. That's one thing it'll do. Another thing it will do is if we have some kind of a special that we want to alert our club members to, that's how you'll receive it. If our schedule changes, that's how you'll know. So it's a plan for communication to you so that you'll know what is happening and what we're up to. If something bad happens, we will do our best to alert you with that. So we may not be on the air at that moment. It may be after the broadcast is over at 11 o'clock a.m. Central. We're not aware of all the things that you'll know from this USA Prepares Club email. There's not much information that we're asking for you. Just your name, your first name, just your first name, and your email address. That's it. And we'll alert you to lots of things that are happening. So if you're interested, just go to usaprepares.com, page number 1, and you'll see it. It's the first thing you see. And I want to thank our instructors for making that happen. That would be Ed at UserSite, CEO of UserSite.com, Joey, Miles, and all of our instructors. Captain John Regan, I'll be right back. I didn't plan to spend so much time on that one little point, but we'll get right into the class activities when we come back. What a class you will experience today.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or 800-544-3533.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX or my website, danpilla.com.
When Dr. Lane Sebring appeared on Fox News and claimed that he could give seniors a second shot at youth, viewers were highly skeptical. But then they saw the proof. Despite being 61 years old, Dr. Sebring is still competing in martial arts competitions against guys half his age and winning. But what's even more remarkable are his lab tests that back it all up. His blood pressure checks in at a healthy 110/78, and his blood sugar never jumps above 70. So what's his secret? Sebring has been using a powerful green drink that he personally formulated called Patriot Power Greens. Patriot Power Greens was originally created to help older guys in the military who are dealing with achy joints and stiff muscles. And for a limited time, Dr. Sebring is letting you try the drink absolutely free. All he asks is that you chip in a few bucks to help cover shipping. To claim your free samples of Patriot Power Greens, go to greens75.com. Greens75.com. Greens75.com.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
It's no secret that pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, molds, and fungus can inflict severe damage in the human body. Fortunately, a new and vastly improved silver solution has been developed. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary broad-spectrum antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal solution that can be used inside the body as well as on the skin. Supernatural Silver is unique and superior to colloidal and ionic silvers, using a patented technology that is highly effective against colds, flus, infections, food poisoning, and yeast, in addition to many other pathogens. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported, extremely safe, and is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Find out how Supernatural Silver could change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HEALTHY for 20% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com, and like us on Facebook.
Captain John Reagan's with us. And I'm at thefinancialstateoftheunion.com, and I've clicked on the news tab. I'm ready to go.
Let me quickly go through a tale of two droughts just to update that. Not a whole lot of change. California did see about 3% of the state go from the exceptional drought area, drop down. It doesn't really change things that much. They still have over 34 million people in drought, which is better than the year started. It was like 37 million, so they've had about a 10% reduction in the number of people affected by drought. Texas, on the other hand, it's still not bad, but there's places in the Panhandle in West Texas that are having problems. There's a fair amount of drought, the moderate drought type in the Panhandle. That's almost 4% of the state, affecting a population of just over 100,000 people. And we'll just see how that progresses. As you know, weather's not normal anymore. And in fact, I was hearing on the news where they could be having freezes on the East Coast this week, and that can be devastating for a lot of crops there, including peaches and grapes. So keep an eye on that too. I've got a couple of other articles there. One, Northern California has a problem where reservoirs are too full. They go from, where's the water to, oh my gosh, we got too much water. That doesn't really help the whole drought situation, though. California needs on the order of 13 trillion gallons of water to make things better. And of course, they can't take that all at one time either. And just so you don't think it's the United States, and again, if you're one of those who fairly new to the show, one of the reasons we look closely at California, because that's where a lot of our food is raised. And if the drought doesn't get better, that affects our food supply. But not all the food is grown there. In fact, sugar, specifically sugarcane, the largest exporters, India and Thailand, are also suffering severe drought. They've lost a good amount of the crop, and they're expecting to ship 20 to 30% less this year, which means, of course, prices will go up. And that's almost one of those good news, bad news things, because sugar really isn't that good for you anyway. There's dozens of things that it does negatively to you. And I know a lot of people will store it for preparedness because it's one of those items that lasts a long time without going to a lot of prep work. You can just pretty much put it in the bucket and just go back later and have it. Just want to make sure it doesn't absorb moisture, or you could end up with a big block. And the thing is that one of those dozens of things that it does is it dings your immune system for several hours. So when you're in the post poop hits the prop scenario there, probably the last thing you really want is to have your immune system compromised. It's going to be tough enough because you're probably going to be short on sleep with all that you're going to have to do that you didn't think about beforehand. And the sanitary conditions aren't going to be as good as they are today. And, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle anyway. The last thing you need to do is, just for the sake of having some, sugar in your coffee or on your cereal or whatever, it's just not worth it.
John, you were talking about you're absolutely right. And I haven't mentioned this on the air, but I guess it's the time to do it. I put on a couple pounds, and I reached 141 pounds, which is more than I want to be. And I put myself on a diet of Raisin Bran cereal and water. And that's it. Raisin Bran cereal and water. I'm on my fifth day. And I've lost 5 pounds. I feel so much better. Seriously, I was getting sluggish. And so I cut out coffee, and I cut out cheese and sugar and pretty much all the fun stuff. And it's working. I feel a lot better. So I just wanted to share that. That's what I did. I'm not recommending anyone follow my example. I'm just saying it worked, and I weighed myself this morning, and I'm down 5 pounds. So, John, I also wanted to share something else. You're talking about the drought, and you're talking about flooding. And right now we're flooding here in our farm. There's plenty of rain, and all night it's been raining. I expected it, and that's why I was dragging manure across the fields to spread it out so that the manure would benefit the entire field rather than just little clumps of the field. And the thunder and lightning last night was fantastic. I mean, the whole house shook. And here's why I'm talking about it. We have a well, and it's over 200 feet deep, and there's a well casing. And there's a seal between the well casing and the ground. Well, I believe that the violent shaking of the ground by these massive thunderbolts and lightning strikes that shake the whole house can loosen the seal just a little bit around the well casing and the dirt around it. And then when you have flooding as a result of the rain, then you can have a leak of whatever's on the surface down the side of the well casing into the water supply, the drinking water supply. And when there's flooding, who knows what is in that water? Gasoline, insecticides from those, from your neighbors, whatever they put on their lawn to kill the bugs that they just can't stand. All that can leak into the groundwater supply, which is just one more reason why you need to be careful of the water you drink. Okay? Just want to put that out there. It's not a commercial. It's just, we've been talking about this for years and we're not kidding. Because your water supply can change in 20 minutes. And you won't even know it. And it can be the municipal water supply. It could be somebody forgetting to put the treatment chemicals in there. Or saying, well, did we put it in? I don't know. Let's just do it. We'll do it again just in case. And doubling up those chemicals. Think about that. And think about these rocket scientists who are in the water treatment plants. Back to you, John.
Well, let's take a look at the financial section. And Friday, I saw a headline go by that had me a little bit concerned. The Fed is having an emergency meeting today. And I've got a link there, emergency meeting, where this was an unplanned or unexpected meeting. It's expedited. That's why we call it emergency. It's closed meeting, so we don't get to know what they talk about, at least for a while. And when I saw the original headline, I didn't know what the topic was, so I maybe speculated that, given how bad quarter one earnings are, and I've seen where they could be as much as 8% down, that perhaps they'd be going with another round of QE to try and prop up the stock market to make it good through at least the conventions, if not the election. But the topic came out, and it's going to be on interest rates. Now, I can't even say which way I think they're going to go on that, because I saw an article where inflation went up 0.5 point in March. And when inflation goes up, the interest rate tool they use is to raise interest rates. Of course, that slows the economy down, and with all the debt that we have now, that starts pushing interest expense up at a time when we're broke anyway. The flip side is the economy is doing bad. In fact, one of the articles is where the Atlanta Fed is revising their quarter one GDP estimate to 0.1%, and it may even go negative. When you've got the economy slowing down, the interest rate tool, what you would typically want to do is lower it. Well, the Fed has two problems there. One, they can't lower it very much without going negative, and they're also caught between a rock and a hard place with trying to keep the dollar viable. They've got Japan, which needs the dollar to be stronger, and China, which wants the dollar to be weaker. And there's no way of doing both of those at the same time. So they're having that meeting this morning. Then Chairman Yellen will be meeting with the resident-in-chief and the VP this afternoon, and we'll just see what news comes out after that.
John, you're talking about being broke. I just called Farm Supply, and I said, I'm looking for a bundle of cattle panels. They said, we'll be glad to negotiate the price on that. They can't wait to drop the price. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
By now, you know the smart way to buy emergency food storage is calories per dollar. Ready Supply Foods sells you 50% more food for your money. GMO-free, 25-year shelf life, great tasting, and free shipping. You need 2,000 calories per day under ideal conditions. Most 30-day kits don't have enough calories to sustain you for more than a week. They just don't have enough nutrition to do the job. See the comparisons for yourself at ReadySupplyFoods.com. We are the new leader in value and quality. Go to ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Remember Pearl Harbor. Now you can buy, for the first time ever, the 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender solid gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call 1-800-329-6700 right now or go online to usmoneyreserve.com. 1-800-329-6700.
Imagine a pill that can improve your focus, your memory, your sleep. A catalyst to improve your brain chemistry. Dr. Bill's Cognition Plus is truly the smarter in an hour pill. A combination of amino acids, trace minerals, and B vitamins, Cognition Plus is made with specialized herbal extracts that will enhance and support brain function. Our customers say,
I feel more focused.
My memory's getting better.
I can work longer with more useful hours.
Power up your neurotransmitters that have been depleted, like dopamine and norepinephrine. Stimulate the release of others, like serotonin and oxytocin. Improve circulation and energy production. Protect your mind and your loved ones today. Order Dr. Bill Deagle's Cognition Plus at 888-212-8871 or go online to NutriMedical.com. That's 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. And listen to the NutriMedical Report every weekday on the GCN Radio Network. NutriMedical.com, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
Dr. Joel Wallach here. If you're a baby boomer and you're worried about the big epidemics coming, and I'm not talking about the bird flu or the swine flu, I'm talking about epidemics of Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, arthritis, cancer. That's because the 80 million baby boomers followed all the advice of doctors, and Houston, we have a problem.
See Dr. Wallach live in Little Rock, Arkansas, Saturday, May 14th, 1 p.m. Go to www.cdocinarkansas.com. That's cdocinarkansas.com.
Captain John Reagan's with us, and I'm kind of grinning, and I'll tell you why. Captain John Reagan, you and I haven't talked about this, but I I think you remember me kind of complaining about the lack of knowledge that the local farmers cooperative in our little hamlet here in Missouri, and how I stopped doing business with them because they had no clue as to what they were doing. Well, I just got off the phone with the manager of that's over the area, not just that one store. I called him, and he's in another town, and I was looking for some cattle panels, and I was negotiating the price during the break. And he said, yeah, you know they're people that were at the other store? Well, they're not there anymore. They're not there anymore. They changed the management, they changed the front office staff because it wasn't just me. Evidently, they got enough complaints where they revamped their management team, and they have new people in place. Here's the whole point, John Regan and class. Your voice does make a difference. You can use it, and you can impact things around you. So where did this... I mentioned that I had a problem with Orscheln, and they were kind of rough on my truck with the cattle protein lick tubs that I bought. 6 of them at 200 pounds apiece are rough on my truck, and I complained about it, and those people are gone. Gone. They're not there anymore. And I talked to the manager of the store, and he got rid of them. He fired them. And the store is completely different now. They have people who are actually trying to do the right job and teach and learn and share information, and they are helpful. They now have customer service the way it should be. And I just found out that that this farmers cooperative right near our farm has done the same thing. And I just talked to the manager of, the area manager, if you will, and he absolutely positively remembered my discussion with him. He said he thinks I'd like it a lot better because they made the change. John, isn't that cool?
Nice to know we make some progress anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to share that. I just got off the phone with them, so I wanted to let you know. And they dropped the price. Cattle panels are $20 a piece. We need them for, it's like fencing. We need them, and they're going to drop the price $1 if we buy some amount, a bundle of them or a partial bundle. And so it's simple as that. All you have to do is call and ask. So I just saved $50 or $20 or however many we buy. Back to you, John.
One thing that's we haven't gotten to lately is the Baltic Dry Index.
Oh, man.
And I didn't put a link up for this, but I have been following. And today it's up to 555. It's really kind of exploded. About 3 weeks ago, it was about 150 points less. That's how big a change there's been lately. I haven't found a reason for it. It could just simply be that it's that time to start preparing things for Christmas, and this is the start of that with the bulk product that ends up being manufactured into finished product, and then it gets to the containerized freight side of things. So just to let you know where it stands, and like I say, unfortunately, I can't give you an analysis on it just yet. And I guess I'll try to get started on this. I've got a link called Now versus Then, the then being the 1930s. The title of the article, The Greater Depression Has Started, comparing 1930s and today. And it does this in a normal way, in ways that beyond what we've talked about. I've typically talked about the amount of debt and the technology. And I'm hearing the music in the background, so we'll pick up with this article on the other side.
Yeah, Captain John Reagan's talking about the first Great Depression. It started in 1929, and the current depression. And we're going to learn the comparison. We're going to learn the difference, then versus now. Absolutely fascinating. And that will be right after the top of the hour news and commercial announcements. I'm Vin Finelli. This is USAPrepares.com. And your senior instructor for today, Captain John Regan, the Financial State of the Union.com. We'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Sitting right beside me, well, maybe 800 miles away, is Captain John Regan, the Financial State of the Union.com.
That's a little more than 100 miles.
Yeah, no, I was thinking 800 miles away. Maybe it's less than that. But you know, hey John, we were talking about the depressions. Depression, the 1929, 1930, all the way up to World War II, that depression, and the current one we're in. And the word depression, I just typed in depression on the search engine, and it's, it's a mental depression. That's what comes up as the first. Isn't that amazing that that's the first result, second and third? That mental depression is what search engines think that you're looking for when you type in depression. Well, I guess a lot of people are depressed. The reason I'm bringing that up is the president did not like the term panic. And that's why it's called depression. Because it was called the panic. A financial panic. And it was serious. Literally, people were jumping out windows and taking their lives as a result of the 1929 panic, also known as the Great Depression. But it looks like this one may eclipse that one by far. And you're going to tell us about it.
It's like I've said before, is that what's coming is going to make the Great Depression look like a party. And I wish we had time. This would probably take the good part of an hour just to go through it. It's that good of an article that goes in and talks about the differences between now and then, corporate bankruptcy, and back then. Banks failed. Today, we prop them up, and it just makes the situation worse. Unemployment. You lost your job, and you had to find one. Although that was easier said than done. Today, there's all kinds of social programs which in the not so distant future, government won't be able to afford, which is going to lead to a social unrest that the Great Depression didn't have. We saw how testy things got when the electronic benefit cards didn't work for a couple of days in a few states. Just imagine when that goes away altogether. Welfare, again, the way things worked back then, it was, basically, family, friends, or church group that was your safety net. And today it's like I've said, we now have over 50% of the population getting some kind of assistance from the federal government, whether that's the food stamps or Obamacare subsidies. There's just so many ways. One of the big things that's changed is regulations. We now have more regulations than anybody can keep track of, and much less obey. And the more the more regulations you have, the worse things end up. You have less freedoms and more costs. Taxes, oh my goodness, they got the camel's nose under the tent in 1913. We typically talk about the Fed getting instituted then, but it was also the constitutional amendment that allowed income taxes, and of course the way they sold it, it'd only be a small percent on the rich people in the Northeast, and we see how that turned out. Now, when you just saw the recent report, when you combine federal, state, and local taxes, it takes up 22% of income. And the sad thing is because they've lied so much about the the unfunded liabilities that in order to fund those, they would need more than 100% of income just to keep it from getting worse. Prices, they experienced the deflation back then, which leads into problems, and we've experienced some of that too today. And we're seeing the manipulation, we're seeing the volatility, the wild swings. In fact, we've gotten so used to it. The Dow went up 500 points, the Dow goes down 500 points. No big deal. That's normal. Society's changed, and not for the better. A little bit in that section gets into communications, which now are instantaneous. Back in the 1930s, you were really just seeing the release of radio as a medium. You basically had newspapers and the postal service, and of course all the wives that had the free time to gossip. It was before World War II, where they got all the women to work, and then they managed to entice them to stay in the workforce and let somebody else raise your kids, especially the government, so we can indoctrinate them the way we want to. Then there's the way people worked. Of course, back then, work was really work. So much of today, we go to an air-conditioned office and sit in front of a computer. And some of the younger ones spend a lot of their time on Facebook in addition to that. The markets have changed quite a bit. And that's probably one of the places where it's going to get rather interesting. We built a bridge to nowhere by kicking the can down the road as much as we have. And there's, when it collapses this time, it's not a pretty sight. It doesn't get into how that translates into with the lessons of history. When you have severe economic times, what you see is war, and we may get to some pretty hot stuff before the collapse we're expecting. The other overlay on this is the dollar is now essentially worthless, and when you have a currency collapse, the lessons history tells us that you end up with a dictatorship. I think for all practical purposes, we're there. And then we have to overlay the changes since World War II. We're not going to have another war like World War II. We had time to change our industry, which we still had then. Now we'd have to reinvent the industry to ramp up our production of tanks and airplanes and ships. But the next war is kind of like what we've been talking about in preparedness. It's going to be where you are with what you have. And we were a bit isolated by both oceans. And that didn't stop an attack. Of course, we've got Pearl Harbor as an example of that. But by and large, the United States escaped pretty much intact, whereas Europe and Japan were in horrible shape, and that's why we were so successful in the 50s without competition. And then we've got all the technology that kind of breaches that gap now. And again, we've talked about it. It doesn't take that much to take the electric grid down, whether it's with an EMP that fries things, or whether it's with selectively taking out certain large transformers, and it's not even a high amount of those. And we're just not capable of recovering society without electricity. Back then, if we had been attacked and lost our grid in that way, people were still alive that knew how to do things the old-fashioned way. Today, we don't know the old-fashioned way. And that's what's going to make this round so much more deadly. Vincent.
You're talking about just the grid. And as you were saying that, I was thinking about, let's just take one item out of our house, just one item, the refrigerator. Let's take that out. What would life be like without a refrigerator? It'd be almost impossible for most of us. What would life be like without the electric stove? How many of us have electric stoves? Or if you have a gas stove, will that work? Will the broiler work without electricity? I submit to you, if it's within the last 15 years that it was manufactured, it won't work without electricity. Why? Because there's an igniter, and it's like a toaster element that glows yellow to red hot, that must glow for several seconds and keep glowing while the flame is operating in your gas stove for the to bake or broil. It's amazing. So without electricity, even a gas stove doesn't work. Now, how would life be like without a stove or a refrigerator? Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our IronEdison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at IronEdison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Bad news, Americans. You're probably stockpiling for a disaster all wrong. When the big one comes, you'll need more than that poisonous, oversalted survival food you now see everywhere. There are 3 vital things that your survival food is missing, and it's the first thing to disappear from grocery stores. Go to superfoodradio.com now to see my story of how I nearly died when I was forced to live on a popular survival food. That's superfoodradio.com, and I'll show you how everything you've been told about survival food is dead wrong. Go to superfoodradio.com now.
When Dr. Lane Sebring appeared on Fox News and claimed that he could give seniors a second shot at youth, viewers were highly skeptical. But then they saw the proof. Despite being 61 years old, Dr. Sebring is still competing in martial arts competitions against guys half his age and winning. But what's even more remarkable are his lab tests that back it all up. His blood pressure checks in at a healthy 110/78, and his blood sugar never jumps above 70. So what's his secret? Sebring has been using a powerful green drink that he personally formulated called Patriot Power Greens. Patriot Power Greens was originally created to help older guys in the military who are dealing with achy joints and stiff muscles. And for a limited time, Dr. Sebring is letting you try the drink absolutely free. All he asks is that you chip in a few bucks to help cover shipping. To claim your free samples of Patriot Power Greens, go to greens75.com. greens75.com. greens75.com.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Remember Pearl Harbor. Now you can buy, for the first time ever, the 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender solid gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call 1-800-329-6700 right now or go online to usmoneyreserve.com. 1-800-329-6700.
John Regan's with us, and John, I was thinking about the 1950s as you were discussing it. And what happened in the 1950s is a lot of our servicemen came back home from fighting in Europe and in the Pacific. And there was a 4-year built-up demand for everything. And the guys wanted to get married and start a family all at once. And they wanted to buy everything. They wanted to buy automobiles. And I don't think there's a 1946 automobile. They wanted to buy tools. They wanted to build houses. They needed appliances. They needed clothing. They needed shoes. Everything, tires, everything you could possibly think of. And there was this boom. And industry responded. And we were very, very successful. And, you know, some people think of, boy, those heads of industry and those captains in marketing, boy, were they brilliant. Well, actually, the demand was so great, almost anybody could be successful back then. But we did create lots of really neat products very, very quickly. And that's one of the things that made us great, that massive amount of demand. So what ended the first Great Depression? That'd be World War II. And I asked my parents about that. I remember in the 1970s sitting down with my mom and dad and saying, so what caused the Depression to end? And they were kind of stymied. And then they realized World War II. That caused it to end. John?
Well, that might end this next depression too, but yeah, that doesn't mean you'll live to see the other side of it.
Right. Right. By the way, I'm looking at a headline, and this is in the Daily Mail. It says, "The system is rigged. Donald Trump's outrage as Cruz is handed landslide victory and 34 delegates in Colorado without a direct vote by the state's Republican voters." You know, we may have a revolution if Donald Trump is not the nominee of the Republican Party. And I believe he's absolutely right. I believe the system is rigged. And as I was doing tractor therapy over the weekend, going round and round, spreading manure on the farm, I was thinking about how in Virginia, literally, when it was my turn to vote in those electronic voting machines that they just newly unleashed on us, I would take very deep breaths. I'd hold my nose and I'd run over to the electronic computerized voting machine and vote. And that was my way of saying this whole thing smells. These candidates year or election after election are just the worst possible choices I could think of. And those were selected for our voting pleasure. And we were told if we voted for someone other than a Republican or a Democrat, we were wasting our vote. Remember those days, John?
The good old days when they at least pretended your vote counted.
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. They pretended our vote counted. Now it's you don't have a vote. In Colorado, and one of our instructors called me and said we should sue the Republican Party, class action suit. Sue the Republican Party for this charade. The charade that we're going through. You know, we spend all this money, taxpayer money, to have these votes, and they are a charade. He's got an excellent, excellent point. What's next?
Well, since you've brought up voting, we might as well go to the control section. The first link is the direct YouTube link. I got a must-see 7-minute video, election fraud, and the link underneath the description of video is where I'll be working from. They hacked one of the memory cards for a Diebold machine, and what you see in that video is a result of a test. They took the guy, didn't even let him in the room, and they just took the memory card. They picked one of the machines at random, put the card in, and I'll describe the rest of it when we get back.
You know, we've been lied to for so long that our vote counts. I am absolutely not convinced our vote counts. And what I said about the two crime syndicates, the Republicans and Democrats, absolutely true.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Is there a difference in body armor? You bet there is. Quality, warranty, price. Get it all from Patriot Armor. Veteran-owned and operated Patriot Armor plates are made in America. Extensively tested, independent lab certified. Come in many options and protection levels with a lifetime warranty on our steel armor plates and Vibra plate carriers. Plus, industry-leading prices starting at just $149.99. Click PatriotArmorDefense.com or call 727-280-7146. When your life depends on it, trust no other. Patriot Armor.
Do you or someone you know suffer from chest pain, blood pressure, cholesterol, or irregular heartbeat? Are you looking for a more natural solution to overcome these health challenges? You hear the ads all the time. If this stuff's so good, why doesn't my doctor prescribe it? That's easy. There's more money in treating symptoms. Extendivite Heart Tonic does want you to be as healthy as you can be, and it really works. Take Extendivite for 6 months and your doctor will say, I don't know what you're doing, but don't stop, it's working for you. Get the dependability of Extendivite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
For the most amazing, calming, brain-stabilizing, blood sugar, and natural addiction-breaking formula, try CalMind. Anxiety melts, panic is gone, sleep is restful, and you'll stay calm during stress. Better than booze, mind-altering drugs, or anti-anxiety, antidepressant, toxic medications, CalMind lubricates your mind so you'll sail through the day effortlessly. Order Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutridyne at 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com and listen to the NutriMedical Report every weekday on the GCN Radio Network. NutriMedical, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
Hey, I rode the elevator with you, but I don't work on the upper floors. I just want to squeeze in there right next to you, so the RFID scanner in my pocket can capture all your personal information, your debit and credit cards, even your work ID badge. So your identity is now my identity. Going up, so am I.
For over 10 years, ID Stronghold has pioneered RFID blocking wallets and ID badge holders for consumers, the U.S. military, and even the Executive Office of the President. Shouldn't you be protected too? ID Stronghold wallets cost about the same as wallets in most stores, but give you extra protection.
I'm Walt Augustinowicz, founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. Don't be a victim of electronic pickpocketing. Protect yourself from crimes you can't see with ID Stronghold wallets, card sleeves, and purses.
Visit idstronghold.com and get the original RFID blocking wallets and badge holders. idstronghold.com.
So, John, we're talking about voter or voting machine fraud. Please continue.
Now, this one might make it difficult to sleep at night. I don't think they got into introductions, but the group of people that had there sounded like that they were or had been election officials. And these machines that were at this location were the OCR type, where you fill out a ballot, marking the box that you want to vote for, and then they're scanned in. So at least with these machines, you have a paper trail. Machines that we have around here are the ones that have the screen, and you check the box on the screen. So we don't even have a paper trail here. So they put this memory card in, they turn the machine on, and it goes through this startup routine, and it prints out, the vote counts showing that everything's zeroed out, has a place for the election judge to sign, showing that we didn't stack the votes in this machine. And they had a little mock election. What they did was, one question, can the votes on a Diebold system be hacked using the memory card? And the options were yes or no. And what they did is they had 2 of the people vote yes, the other 6 voted no. They scanned them into the voting machine. And then there's another form that you run through there that tells the machine that's the end of the voting. So it doesn't allow more votes, and it prints out the results. Well, when the results printed out, it said 7 yes, 1 no. So it had the proper number of votes, but nowhere near what the real vote was. And just to show that the card wasn't programmed to print out those results, they went in and looked at the actual vote counts that were contained on the memory card. And in doing that showed the 7 yes, 1 no. So it's without going to auditing the paper trail, the results exactly the opposite of what the people voted for. And one of the participants actually cried because she realized that all the work they've done to try and have fair elections is meaningless because the machine can be programmed to do whatever they want.
Larry Nichols was on this broadcast, and he said Hillary will become the president. And those were the days when Hillary was under the microscope. And those were some dark days for Hillary. And anyone paying attention to the news would say, come on, impossible. She's a criminal. And many people have accused Hillary Clinton of being a criminal, as well as Bill Clinton. And when Larry Nichols said on the air that she will be our next president, it was very hard to believe that. All things being above board and honest. But we're finding out that there's a lot of skullduggery going on. And the voting machines is part of it. The delegate count is part of it. It doesn't matter what the will of the people, the will of the villagers is. They're going to put in whoever they want. And maybe they'll get that revolution that they're hoping doesn't come. Because there are more of the villagers than there are of them. And so who's going to be blamed for all of this? It'd be the government. It'd be government workers of all kinds. All kinds. The Blue Plague, the men in black dresses, they're all going to get blamed for this. Because they are the ones who are supposed to be working for our protection, for honesty. There's nobody to call, John. And as I was going around the tractor yesterday, there's, who are we going to call? Ponzi Joe? Ponzi, I'm talking about Joey Kyle. The sheriff of Christian County, Missouri, who allegedly is going to prison, federal pen, for a year and a day for the crimes he committed. Who are we going to call him? It seems to me that there is nobody for us to call, and we have to help our friends, help our neighbors, help our family, and we need to be prepared. Because as this spirals down, there's nobody to call. The last thing I want to do is call the cops. Because they bring guns and make everything worse. There's a TV series I've been watching. I think you might want to consider watching it, class. It's called Manhattan. It's about the Manhattan Project. It's about building the bomb. And it was about the skullduggery, the lies, the deceptions that our government was involved in, even back in the 40s. This is nothing new. It's just being exposed more by the internet. If we're paying attention, we can find this out. John, back to you.
Well, in school, you probably learned about photosynthesis, the process that the plants use to convert sunlight into energy for the plants. Well, scientists apparently have now found reverse photosynthesis that can be used to break plants down. And that can be used to generate fuels and things like that. But what disturbed me in seeing this article is anything that you see out there, what is the weaponized use of this? So imagine if they take this technology and take it to your farm. So all of a sudden, all the plants you're raising just die.
I think they have taken technology to our farm, and not just our farm, John. As I look at the trees are dying. I've said this over and over. For those who are in the firewood business, it's great until no more trees grow. I think they have taken it to the farm. And John, I mentioned this to you, and I'll just say it. This puts me at risk, but I'll say it. I've been having these strange dreams. You might call them nightmares. And they're short. And when I wake up, they stop. I stop them by waking up. And they're weird. I mean, they are just very, very strange. People I don't know in them. These aren't dreams about projects I'm working on, people I know. These are weird places I've never been, things I've never seen, things I don't even think about. But it's always a life or death type of a situation. And it's a nightmare, literally. And my question that I've been asking myself is this a result of, is there a correlation that includes the lightning bursts, and the metal in my body from these chemtrails that I can't seem to avoid? Am I being disturbed by the electromagnetic radiation that's in the environment? And some of it's man-made, Wi-Fi and microwaves and cell phones. And, if I travel and go to places that, public places that have all that stuff. But it's not just that. Could it be the power lines that are on the roads enhancing these strange thoughts? Could it be the lightning in the, over the farm? We've had lightning blasts right over the farm. I had really strange dreams last night, and it was during a lightning storm. Is it just me? Is it just me, or are others experiencing the same thing? I just want to put that out there, at risk of being thought to be a nut, or more of a nut.
I'll leave that one alone. Let's flip on down to the bigger picture. Watch out, artists. And we've talked about computers, robots, and artificial intelligences taking away jobs. And we've talked about how even high-level jobs like doctors and CPAs are not exempt from this. But we've fairly considered that, creative type work would be, well, a computer paints new Rembrandt after analyzing hundreds of his portraits and even recreates the brushstrokes using a 3D printer. So these AIs, artificial intelligences, can be trained to look at, whether it's paintings or voices. We could have new work from Elvis because of artificial intelligence. I'm beginning to believe that there may be nothing that safe. And given the way things are going with this election, how long before people are going to demand the fair artificial intelligence take over the government?
As you were saying this, John, I was thinking about the weaponized use of this artificial intelligence. And it sounds to me like we can watch a video of us, as evidence against us, doing something that we didn't do in a place we've never been, in our voice, in our movement, in our gait. Is that what we're talking about, John? Sounds like you could go that far.
They probably can. They just don't, because they don't reveal how advanced the technology currently is.
Last segment coming up, USAPrepares.com. I'm Vin Finelli. Captain John Regan's with us. Very disturbing. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
My name is Don Wiskin. In 1994, I lost my 62-year-old father to complications of bypass surgery. In 1977, my 44-year-old brother was found dead in his apartment. He suffered a heart attack. In January of 98, my mother had a stroke and passed away in her bed. 21 days later, my 53-year-old brother passed away on his arrival to the hospital. He waited too long. In June that same year, I almost joined them at 42. What did I do? I took a 7-herb formula I now call Extendivite, made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, hawthorn, milk thistle, and valerian. Based on German studies of natural medicine, Extendivite is designed to clear blocked arteries, clean the toxins from your blood, and improve your immune system. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
A good stove is at the top of the list for any serious survivalist. That's why you have to see the full range at emberlit.com. Simple, elegant, but extraordinarily efficient. Available in titanium or stainless steel, the Emberlit line of stoves are ultralight, pack flat, and work great. Fueled only by sticks and debris. From emergency situations to long-term survival, Emberlit stoves are up to the task. Emberlit, the most convenient, easy-to-carry wood stoves on the planet. See them all at emberlit.com.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
75 years ago, America suffered one of the worst moments in American history, the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now you can remember December 7th, 1941, with the purchase of the first ever 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender solid gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call 1-800-490-3200 right now for the official 75th anniversary Pearl Harbor legal tender gold coin from the U.S. Money Reserve, the only company authorized to distribute these 100% solid gold coins. Remember Pearl Harbor with this limited official gold release. 1-800-490-3200 or online at usmoneyreserve.com.
If you want to raise the next generation of Patriot leaders, take a look at Freedom Project Academy, a Judeo-Christian online school for kindergarten through high school. No Common Core teaching methods or high-stakes testing. Freedom Project Academy is government-free, doesn't accept any government funding, and is a fully accredited private school. All classes are taught live online with real teachers across the country. Open enrollment runs March through July, but classes fill up quickly. Check them out at fpeusa.org. That's fpeusa.org.
John, during the break, I took a quick look. I typed in gas stove on a search engine. You know, a gas stove is minimum $448, $1,800, $2,500, $1,700. It's amazing how much a gas stove costs today. And I'm seeing more and more prices of the things we need go up and up and up. So I called a used appliance store, and I said, "Hi, do you have any used gas stoves in stock?" Sorry, we're out of them. It's amazing. So I think what's happening, John, is what we're talking about. We're talking about people are broke, and the price of some things are getting so high that people are buying used. So I just want to share that with you.
Let me see if I can quickly get through the next couple of articles. Lying about it since 1948 and DNA storage. You know, we've talked about geoengineering before and how even as early 1950s, scientists saw this haze in the polar region. They didn't know that it was, chemtrails being sprayed. And there's a Senate committee report from 1978 that talks about this activity going on since 1948. So the government's been at this a long time. But the next article, DNA storage, scientists have found a way to encode photographs, digital pictures, using DNA, because DNA is whereas a computer bit only has one or two values, when you look at DNA, it actually has one of four values. So you can actually put more in a smaller space. And what I find disturbing about this, and let's go back to, if you get a picture on your computer, there's a number of other things that can be encoded into those. In fact, terrorist groups and I'm sure the spy agencies, which just another terrorist group, can encode messages in photographs. So you don't notice it in the photograph, but they're there. You could also have computer viruses encoded into an image. And don't get ahead of me. If that isn't scary enough, the thought came to me because we, at least at our level, don't know how to piece DNA together to create living things, whether it's a bacteria or something larger. And what happens when you have a photograph that you encode, that the DNA string that it puts together becomes the end product is a very deadly pathogen. And of course that won't stop them from continuing their work. And let's see, with the time left, let's go up to the health section. Illegally alive. There's a Boy Scout used to live in Illinois. misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease in 2011, and medical treatment didn't work. But he'd read where cannabis oil could make a difference, so the family ended up having to move to Colorado. And his quote, I thought, was spot on. I'd rather be illegally alive than legally dead. Vincent?
Spot on. Spot on. Yeah, there's a lot of questions about cannabis oil, and as a person who believes in individual liberties and freedoms, I'd like to see the legalization of drugs, but I don't want to see people impacting others by being high, and I'd like to see more research done on these oils. I really would. Captain John Regan, thanks so much for being with us, and I'm going to call you after the broadcast and see if we can get you on another time during this week if your schedule permits. Captain John Regan, thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. Class above all, honesty and integrity. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health issue and company and other factors. Not available in all.